Everyone, take a very deep breath. Maybe sit down, count to 10, and realize things are going to be okay. Ever heard the expression, things are going to get worse before they get better? I mean, sometimes I tell my children that because that's one of the realities about life. And now it seems like we're living a real example of that. And just when we think things couldn't get worse, things appear to get worse. If it's possible, I want to be an encouragement to you, an encouragement to myself. Today we're going to try to get encouragement from a prophet that no one talks about much and one that's really hard to spell, Habakkuk. And Habakkuk had a really interesting job in that he was a prophet, but he wasn't just declaring these messages to God's people. Instead, what we see recorded is this conversation he had with God as he looked at what was happening to God's people. I mean, look at how his book opens. Habakkuk 1. He cries out in prayer to the Lord and he says, "How long, Lord, must I call for help and you don't listen? Or cry out to you about violence and you don't save? Why do you force me to look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrongdoing? Oppression and violence are right in front of me. Strife is ongoing and conflict escalates. This is why the law is ineffective and justice never emerges, and the wicked restrict the righteous. Therefore, justice comes out perverted." Can you hear and understand his heart? He is looking around at what's going on, and he's saying, "Lord, why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you stopping this? Why is all this evil? Why is all this wrongdoing happening and you're not pressing pause to stop it?" And as you read throughout the rest of the book, you're going to see Habakkuk come to terms with something that was as true in his day as it is these thousands of years later in our day. So let's jump to the end of Habakkuk, just a few pages later. And he says this: "I heard and trembled within. My lips quivered at the sound. Rottenness entered my bones. I trembled where I stood. Now I must quietly wait for the day of distress to come against the people invading us. Though the fig tree does not bud, though there's no fruit on the vines, though the olive crop fails," man, this is getting bad, "and the fields produce no food, though the flocks disappear from the pen, and there are no herds in the stalls, yet I will celebrate the Lord. I will rejoice in the God of my salvation. The Lord, my Lord, is my strength. He makes my feet like those of a deer and enables me to walk on mountain heights." Here's what we need to be encouraged by. No matter how bleak it looks, we need to celebrate our Lord because he is in control. He is in charge. He will walk with us through this, and he will enable us to walk when we can't walk, as long as we are following him, trusting him, and crying out to him. I pray and hope each of us would do that today and put our hope and celebration in the Lord, no matter how bad it gets.